Hey YouTube, welcome back to another clone console review. This time it's going to be a special hardware clone that I'll be reviewing, and I'll be talking about my experiences with it of being one of the best clones out there to purchase through my Replay Retro store or somewhere else. This is one of the best clones that you can ever get for the value of your money. This clone costs $80 on Amazon, and I'm proud to represent this clone here today. Yeah, this thing is pretty impressive overall. So let's talk about it. So this clone can play. This clone can play NES games, Super Nintendo games, and Sega Genesis games. Yeah, so and many more other peripherals like the Super Game Boy and Sega Master System converter, if you have those lying around. I think it'll work with a 72-pin Famicom adapter, so I think that'll work with it too. But this clone is pretty impressive of what it can play. It played all of my Super Nintendo games across the board. It played all my NES games across the board, and it even played all my Sega Genesis games that I threw at it across the board. This thing is pretty impressive. So let's bring out the contestant that we're going to be reviewing today, and that is the Super Retro Trio. The Super Retro Trio is a clone console. This is a hardware clone, and so yeah, this is pretty impressive. I never reviewed this on the channel. I only reviewed this on Facebook. So yeah, so you have your slot for NES games go right up here, so you can see that little crack in there, so you can see little pins connecting to the system. So your NES games go right here, your Super Nintendo games go right here, and your Sega Genesis games go right here. So, and what as you may have wondering, where did the controller ports go? The controller ports go right here. So yeah, so basically this looks like a video processor connector thing, you have all these sort of different connections, but the most thing you will be using with your unit are regular controller ports. So up here you have your SNES, just your SNES port your SNES controller that comes with it, which I'll mention to you in a minute, will connect to all these ports, so you can play all these games and without using any of these ports. So if you switch it right over here, then you'll use the original controller ports. You'll use the original controllers. So if you want to use just Super Nintendo, switch it right over here. If you want to switch it to all controller ports that are functioning, just switch it right over there. And at the bottom, you have your regions. So if you're playing North American Super Nintendo games like this one, I'll mention this game in a minute. But yeah, so if you're playing a North American Super Nintendo game, always have it on this slot, please. Always have it on NTSC. So there's NTSC, PAL, NJ, and PA. I don't know what that stands for, but yeah. So anyways, here's this game and all that stuff. And that's pretty much about it. So you have your Super Nintendo ports right there, you have your NES ports right there, and your Genesis ports right there. So let's close this up. And let's see what the Tower of Power, the Trio,
power of cartridges, what it looks like in here. So I'm just gonna go like this just to see what it looks like. Like that. And the Genesis game.
So here's all the games presented in this wonderful slot right here. And so, yeah, it looks very, very good. It looks very, very stylish to retro gamer enthusiasts. And yeah, so you have all these systems to play on. And it's really, really cool. So, yeah, so, yeah, so, anyways, it looks like this. And so, yeah, so it looks like, yeah, so it's, yeah, it looks exactly like this, what you're seeing right now in this video. So, yeah, so there is that. So let me take the games out. And let me mention some of the games that I put in here to represent my friendship over the years. And so, yeah, for the NES... For the NES, for my friendship with Seth, thank you so much for getting me into this game, Seth. You're awesome. You're an awesome retro video gamer and all that stuff. And thank you for getting me into Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. This game is so fun. I mean, it is so fun learning the attack patterns of enemies and all that stuff. And being a professional boxer. This game makes you feel like you're a professional boxer learning the attack patterns of your enemies. So, yeah, so Punch-Out, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, really good game. If you get the regular edition of Punch-Out, then that's okay too. So thank you, Seth, for recommending to me this game. Me and my girlfriend's favorite game of all time for the Super Nintendo that we like to play together, and that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. Yeah, this is one of my favorite games to play with my girlfriend, and if any who's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, play this game. It is so good. So good, so worth it, and I highly recommend this game to you guys. So yeah, so me and my girlfriend, we play this a lot. To honor Christopher Nichols' favorite character on the Genesis, and that is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is just a really good game in its own right, and Chris wants me to pick up Sonic 3, sorry, hiccup. Sonic 3 is a really good game, but this one is just a little bit better. So, I don't know what Sonic game is best, but this game is actually really good, and I highly recommend it. So this one showed the Genesis power and all that stuff. So, yep. So there's that one. There it is. Seal it up. And, so let's take a look at the controller that it comes with. So this is a 10 feet cord cable. So let me just unravel this monstrosity. It's taking me a while.
So here is the Super Nintendo redesign of the controller, basically. So yeah, so the Retrobit style controller. So it feels really, really good. Here's your D-pad right here to do Street Fighter moves and all that stuff. And here are your X, Y, B, A buttons right here, and your L and R triggers right up here. Bumpers, I should say, not triggers, and your start and select. So that is the controller, basically. That is the Retrobit controller, and this thing is large, and it uses, as I can get to it in a minute, yeah, I would definitely bring this to my grandma's camp and play Super Nintendo in my cabin. But here's the Super Nintendo plug right here, and yeah, so that's the controller that it comes with. Really long cable. So it'll work with your NES controllers. This is the original NES controller, basically. So yeah, that's always good plus to know. That's always a good thing to know, that it'll work with your original controllers. That's why it has the original controller ports. So yeah, so NES controller right there. So this is my original NES controller. It'll also work with your original Super Nintendo controller. Yeah, that classic Y, X, B, A buttons and all that stuff. And your Sega Genesis 6-button controller, basically. So, yeah, so playing classic retro games and all that stuff. So, yeah. Very fun. So, I wanted to talk about a really special trick with you guys of getting your light guns to work on this system. So, you will need a CRT TV. Now, what is that? Basically, it's a glass TV that does not support HDMI, basically. So, a glass TV, just like your iPad and it flashes when it turns on or turns off. And you basically just plug in, not the HDMI, but the AV connections right here. So remember these, the yellow, white, and red cables. So you just plug those in right here and you can play light gun games. And this console will be supported with light gun games in my shop, so you can come in and play Duck Hunt. So that's always a big, huge plus about this system. So yeah, and we have a power slider. We have a power slider and a reset button. So it goes Genesis, Super Nintendo, and Nintendo. So, yep, so that's it. And the reset button is right there. And don't worry about this system power on each system. Don't worry about the slider powering on each system every time you want to play NES. Just get that to that system very quickly as soon as possible. So, yeah, this system is very, very good. So, anyways, so yeah, compatibility wise, I did not have any. I did not have any compatibility issues. It worked with all my games that you saw in this video: Punch Out, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, and Sonic 2. It will not work with the NES flash carts where you dump ROMs into a flash cart. It won't work with those. I don't believe. So it also will work with. Let's see. It worked with Castlevania 3 and I love that game. It's so good. I'll do a top 10 NES games of all time because I collected all the top NES games. I also tried DuckTales. DuckTales is really good. Castlevania 3, DuckTales. My Mega Man cart worked. My Mega Man 2 cart worked. My Mega Man 6 cart worked. Paperboy worked. And my unknown NES game worked. Just about any NES game that you can throw at it will play on this. So don't worry about collecting for the system. So if you're going to play Castlevania 3, and if you're chattering through your teeth, then don't be, because this thing will boot up Castlevania 3. So, for Super Nintendo, I could not find any problems with the Super Nintendo library. There are well-known games like Star Fox with the Super FX chip, Yoshi's Island with the Super FX 2 chip, Doom, Super Mario RPG with the lockout chip will work with the system. Super Mario RPG, very important game to have for the system. Very important. Final Fantasy 3, Final Fantasy 2 worked. Just about any Super Nintendo game I throw at this will work, basically. It will just flat out work. Yeah, so it's pretty incredible what this system can do. It'll run Doom with the effects chip will work. It'll work with Sonic 2. It'll work with Mortal Kombat 2, Streets of Rage 2, all your football games. Yeah, all your Genesis games will work on this thing, and that's a big, huge plus, because one day, what if you want to buy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Hyperstone Heist, and all that stuff. So, yeah, and Super Mario Bros. 3 works on this as well for the NES, and so on and so forth. So, wow, my throat is getting a little raspy here, but... so yeah, cons. There is like one con, and that is the sound quality on the NES and SNES. The NES is still pitched high. The SNES sound is a little overmodulated. I don't know what that actually is, but it's overpowered. It's overpowering its sound effects and music in its games. So don't let that bother you. You'll get used to it, like I did, and all that stuff. And it also worked with Super Castlevania 4. With the Super Nintendo side of things. Sorry, I'm just listening to these out in my head. It worked with everything. It worked with every game in my collection that's here in the house. So that's always a good sign. I haven't tested out all my Genesis collection yet, but yeah, there's really no need to test out every single one, because some of these games are kind of bad in my collection. So anyways, yeah, so that's the only con that I can think of. What else? Yeah, it doesn't come with all the controllers that you'll need to play some of the games. Oh, I have another con. When you're playing Genesis games, this button will be mapped to A, or what is it? A, B, and C. I don't know how they screwed this up, but they did. They did screw it up. So if you're planning on playing Genesis games, don't use this controller. Just don't use it at all. use a 6-button Genesis controller. This is the way to go if you want to play Genesis games. But for NES, this is B and this is A. So this is B, this is A. Very simple, pick up and play, all that stuff. So yeah, so that's it. So, and the special edition box, I haven't not played this yet because it's a collectible, and that is. And that in the game that I always keep in box is Joe and Mac. This is the Joe and Mac edition, blue cartridge, and I don't even open this. So this is going to be like a seal of Nintendo. This is going to be like a seal box that I will always like cherish in my game room collection and all that stuff. So yeah, this is a boxed Super Nintendo game and all that stuff. So yeah, really, really cool. It makes the artwork on the Super Nintendo there, and this is a Super Nintendo game. So this is what came with my Super Retro Trio. Sorry, hiccup again. So yeah, so this is the Joe and Mac edition that came, and I will always cherish this cart in my collection. It's it's a good game. I just don't enjoy Joe and Mac all that well. I just don't know them that well. What did they do in the video gaming industry and all that stuff? I just don't know. So this is what I cherish in my retro bit boxed Super Nintendo game. So yep, here's the box, and that's all I have to say about that. And yeah, So the only two cons are sound with the Super Nintendo and Nintendo side of things, and the control scheme on the original controller once you switch it to Super Nintendo, all that stuff. So to use it with all the systems. So yeah, so that's my review and the final verdict. The final verdict for the Super Retro Trio is none other than, I would give this, definitely give this an 8. An 8 for great. 8 for great. So yeah, so 8 for great. So yeah, so this has been my review for the Super Retro Trio, and so yeah. This is a great item for collectors who want to collect actual games and from eBay or Amazon, and just want to have a good time. You want to have a good time playing retro games on your flat screen TV because it has the HDMI output on right here. So you just plug in your AC adapter right here and your HDMI. And this has a 5-volt power adapter, and this is an regular HDMI cord and all that stuff. So so your regular. So yeah, if you want to relive those glory Nintendo days, Nintendo and Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis days, and by the way, there is no console war anymore between the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis. So there's no more console war. Yay! So that means you get to play Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis games right on the fly without any hassle and all that stuff. So that's always a big, huge plus. So so that's the review of the Super Retro Trio. 8 out of 10, great console for retro gaming and all that stuff, especially when it comes to Nintendo and Super Nintendo games and Sega Genesis games. And who is the winner, basically? My pick as the best system of all time on the Super Retro Trio is none other than yeah, the Super Nintendo. This system is one of the greatest to collect for. It has the greatest RPGs of all time on here, like Chrono Trigger and Earthbound and Super Mario World, Super Metroid, Zelda Link to the Past, you name it. It is my favorite console on this trio unit. This system is one of the greatest. And I will cherish more memories with my girlfriend and all that stuff playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time, because my girlfriend loves Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. She's just a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. And I'm very, very happy that I have a girlfriend who loves Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles so much. I should just give her a trophy action figure to display in her office someday. Maybe in her future household. We don't know. So you never may know if we end up, getting married, but I hope so. So in the near future. So yeah, thank you, Amelia. So anyways, yeah. So that concludes my review. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. And thank you for watching the Lincoln Williams Show game reviews and all that stuff, and console reviews and unboxings and TV show and movies reviews. And thank you for watching my show and supporting my business, Replay Retro, here in McCall, and so on and so forth. And I can't wait to get back. I can't wait to get back to you guys in September and play some video games with you in Replay Retro. So yeah, so make sure to stop by. So stop by, grab a drink, grab a snack, and play some retro games or modern games in my retro video game store. So yeah, or watch a movie or TV show. We will, probably after COVID is all over, which it probably won't for a while, we'll probably start, if everyone cooperates and wears a mask and all that stuff out in the wild like I am, and my girlfriend too, I think we'll start, we'll start Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments, maybe after COVID is over. So who knows? Yeah, so I think we'll start a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament someday, and I hope to get that, underway in the business, because we sure need it. We sure need a card game so that people can understand it. They can watch the show. They can, play the game. They can collect cards, do all that sort of stuff, because I really love Yu-Gi-Oh! I really do. It's my number one favorite anime of all time. That's kid-friendly and, teaches us lessons about friendship and all that stuff. So, yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! is really good. So I hope to, present that with you someday after COVID is all over, and all that stuff. So we don't know. We're sitting in the dark with this one, but we can play games. We can play games. We can still play games and all that stuff. So yeah. So anyways, I'll be back. So yeah. So that concludes the review and an update on Replay Retro on what's happening. So yeah, if I don't make another video in the next couple of days, weeks, or months, then see you in Replay Retro in September, and I'll keep giving you guys updates. The store is almost complete. Replay Retro store is almost complete. So keep that in mind. So we have plenty of consoles, plenty of systems to go around, plenty of games to go around. So yeah. So anyways, thank you so much for watching, YouTubers. Subscribe and like this video. Share this video with all your friends. Share this video with all your friends. And so yeah, please comment, subscribe, share, and and game on, YouTubers and all that stuff. And I'll be back someday, YouTubers.